Hi there, and welcome back to Northlight Photographic Workshops, and welcome to the studio. It's been a while since I did anything in here with you guys. So anyway, what this is today is actually part 6, I do believe. It might be part 7, but I think it's part 6 of the Wetplate series that I started maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't know. I was looking at them, and I know that I look a lot older now than I did in that series. So. Anyway, this is kind of a long-awaited update to that series, though. I went through the whole thing with you on that in that whole series, you know. And if you want the link to it, I think it's below. Or if you're watching me on Patreon right now, just look in the collection that is Wetplate series. And I go through. I think I start off with just mixing silver nitrate, and then I go through all the other things, mixing the collodion, making a plate, all the way up to varnishing a plate. And that was the final part, I do believe. And so now, part 6 is going to be replenishing your silver nitrate. And I've had a lot of questions lately from people because I've been doing a lot of Wetplate lately, and I've been creating some video and content here and on my Patreon. By the way, if you're watching this right now, since that series started, I now have a Patreon channel, and it's really good. There's free membership as well, but if you're a supporting member there, which is a nominal fee per month, it really does help me make these videos and continue doing this. So I really appreciate it if you went and checked that out. I think I'll put a link below in the video right now, and then that's it for my commercial. But let's get back to this. So I've been getting a lot of questions because I've been doing these videos. People want to know about replenishing their silver nitrate. Now, what happens is this is my silver nitrate tank right here. Your silver nitrate is a 9% solution optimally when you're working in this process. So, but what happens is as you use it and as you put multiple plates in there, it depletes the silver that's in there. You know, it's not enough to have to replenish it every time that you do it, but it's enough that you have to replenish it every so often. And a lot of people that I know that do that, including myself, you always keep a little bit of silver nitrate around. And silver nitrate is, you know, it wasn't terribly expensive at one time. It's a lot more expensive now, which is why I've let my silver bath lapse. But I'll go back and say that unless you're replenishing it a little bit at a time, like a few grams, a couple grams here and there that you mix in of silver nitrate to keep it up around 9%, 10%. When it starts to deplete, you start to notice it in your plates. And unfortunately, this summer, I was starting to notice it in my plates. And I did replenish earlier on, but I didn't have enough silver nitrate to really bring myself all the way up. And then I did a few more portrait pop-up things, and you know, I did some things on my own. And you know, lo and behold, you're starting to deplete this stuff again. And you start to notice in your plates, I'm doing mostly positive plates, and you start to notice in your plates they just start to kind of look a little less bright, if you know what I mean, a little less spark to them. And when that starts to happen, it's time to replenish. So anyway, what we're going to do here today is we're going to find out exactly how bad I was on this. And what you're going to need to do this to replenish your things are the same things that you needed when you were originally mixing the stuff. You need some silver nitrate, of course. I've got 100 grams here that I procured. It's not cheap anymore. I mean, this was probably 130 bucks for this, and that's not near the amount that I have in this jug at one time, I should say. But anyway, this should be enough to get me up and running again. You need your silver nitrate. You need a beaker, preferably a beaker or a jar, something glass that's big enough to hold your whole tank. Now, I don't have enough space here to do that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. You'll need a graduated cylinder. You need a hydrometer. Now, a hydrometer is something that you can pick up pretty much at any brewer's supply or a winery supply, that kind of thing. Basically, it measures the specific gravity of the liquids. So we want this silver nitrate to be around 9%, and I doubt that it is right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure it out first before we get to it. Now, another thing you're going to need is a stirring rod, because we're going to want to mix this up. I like to use glass stirring rods. You're going to want to use a spoon or some sort of a device to scoop out your silver nitrate onto a scale, which is another thing that you're going to need. Now, and glasses, obviously, when you're working with silver nitrate, you should be wearing safety glasses or glasses of some sort, just so you don't get splashes in your eyes. and some rubber gloves, some nitrile gloves, which I'm going to put on right now while we're talking here. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to pour out about, I don't know, what have I got here? I've got 250 milliliters here. I'm going to pour out about 200 milliliters of the silver nitrate solution that I have here mixed already. I'm going to pour that into the graduated cylinder, and then we're going to put in the hydrometer, and we're going to measure just where I am and how bad I have been with this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix a little silver nitrate back in, and we're going to bring it back up, and that's what I'm going to show you in replenishing. Now, the other thing about your silver nitrate is if you go all the way back to the first video, you'll see that you have to excite your bath. I call it exciting the bath. And basically what that is that when you first mix your silver nitrate, before you've ever done any plates in it, you have to put it into your dipping tank and then pour a collodion plate, and then you dip that plate into the silver nitrate, and then you close it up and you just leave it there for all night. And that's in a fresh virgin bath. You want to do that because it excites the bath. And it basically gets that bath to the point where it's going to work consistently for you in depositing silver on your plates. So, but when you're replenishing, you don't have to go through that process because you've already excited the bath and you're going to be mixing in new silver nitrate into your already existing bath. And so in that case, you don't have to go through that overnight step again. There's no reason to do that. So, first, let us pour out the silver nitrate into my graduated cylinder here. Now, you always want to be careful with this stuff because it's very staining. You know, I mean, if it hits UV light after it gets onto something, it stains black and it'll stay that way for some time. Which is why I like to wear the gloves. You know, I'm not one of those people that likes to get the black hands when you're working with silver nitrate, when you're working with wet plate. So okay, I've got it set out in there, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully dip my, see, and it hit the bottom, which is not a good sign. So actually, it's actually floating up off the bottom. I'm going to pour a little bit more silver nitrate in there just to get me. Now the fact is that because it sank all the way to the bottom means that my specific gravity is pretty low. And looking at this, let me get it turned correctly, you'll be able to see, oh boy, yeah, I'm let me pull it out just to see, just to make sure. Yeah, I'm just at about, I'm only at a little over 5%. So that's a little disconcerting. You know, I'm almost at half strength. So I need to fix that. And the way that I'm going to need to fix that is by mixing new silver nitrate into this mix. Now, I don't really know how much to mix in there. You know, I could do the math. I could measure out my complete volume here. I could measure that with the percentage, and I could figure out what I'm lacking, and I could pretty much figure out how much silver nitrate I need to add at that point. But I'm just going to do it kind of the kitchen pinch and dash kind of a way here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my silver nitrate as much in here as I can into this beaker. And then I'm going to mix in, I think I'm going to start with, judging by the fact that it's at 5%. You know, I'm going to mix in about 20 grams of silver nitrate. Now normally if you're doing this and you're just kind of bringing it back up to your 9%, from, you know, 8.5 or something like that, you're only adding about a gram or so. But I'm going to add about 10 grams. And I've got, what did I buy here? I've got 100 grams here. I'm going to measure out 10 grams, and we're going to mix it in with the silver nitrate. And then what I'm going to do is, you know, I'll mix it back into the jug again, because then, of course, it's going to change the specific gravity, because what's in the jug still remaining hasn't had silver nitrate added to it until I put this back in there. So long story short, we're going to have to take the mixture that we put in here, put it back into the jug, and then remeasure it, and we'll see from there. Now, the other thing that's very cool about this is if I don't hit my mark, right? If I don't hit my mark, I need to add more silver nitrate. But if for some reason I go up over and I hit 10% or 11%, that's no problem, because I can just add a little bit more distilled water here. And you do want to use distilled water in this process as well. I think I forgot to mention that. But But anyway, when you're adding water to it, you want to add some silver, or you want to add distilled water. Now, when you add water, of course, it's going to make the specific gravity drop again. So we can always err on the side of mixing too much silver nitrate in there because we can bring it down by adding water. Now, if we add too little, we just have to add more. Unfortunately, if we don't have enough to bring it up, you have to either order more silver nitrate or you're going to have to evaporate off some. And that's a whole other thing I won't even talk about. Some people boil it off. Other people will just put it outside and let it evaporate off. And as it evaporates, the water will evaporate, but the silver nitrate won't evaporate. So as it evaporates, your specific gravity will rise. Anyway, so let's go back to this now. I'm going to use a little bit of paper towel and wipe off this hydrometer as I pull it out, because I just don't want to get everything all stained up. There we go. Okay, so I'll set that off to the side. I'll set this down here. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take and very carefully pour our silver nitrate back into, well, actually, we won't pour it into here. We'll pour it into the beaker. All right? Now, into that beaker, we're now going to add more of our silver nitrate from our jug. I can get a fair amount in there, which is good because that way it won't change too much when I pour it back in here. So I've got almost all of it in there. Let me seal this up and set it off to the side. Now, we'll set this here. Silver nitrate, when mixed in water, has a real interesting smell to it, and I really like it. And actually, this smell, it's very muted kind of a smell, and it won't hurt you. But because I've been using it with collodion, it's also got a little bit of an ether smell, and I wish this was smell-o-vision. You could see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to set my tray on here so that it tears out to 0. There we go. And now I'm going to open up my silver nitrate, and I'm going to scoop in. Now, silver nitrate crystals are just a white, it almost looks like sugar, heavy sugar. Don't eat it. All right, so that's 14 grams. There we go. 20 grams right there. I'm going to wipe this off as well. Good to keep everything clean. All right, I'm going to close up my silver nitrate again. Now, let's take our beaker and we're going to start the solution in motion, and then we're just going to pour in our silver nitrate real nice and easy like that. And we're going to want to mix it all the way up. It takes a little bit of time. It doesn't mix that slowly, but you just want to make sure that you've got it all mixed up. And then once this is done, we're going to pour that back into the jug, slosh it around a little bit just to mix it all in there. And then we're going to pour it back out into the graduated cylinder, and we're going to see how much we raise the specific gravity. And with any luck, we'll be pretty close. Now, I'm saying that because I'm pretty frugal, and that means I've got 80 grams of silver nitrate left to replenish with along the way. So what I'm really hoping is that I'm very close and I don't have to use any more of my precious silver nitrate. That's one of the things, is that I've been doing this for such a long time that, you know, you can see where waste happens, and, you know, it's not cheap stuff that we're playing around with here, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, none of us except the very lucky make, you know, a substantial amount in this business. So there we go. I think I'm pretty well mixed up there on my solution. I don't see any more crystals in the bottom, so I'm going to use the paper towel, and I'm going to wipe that off carefully, set it aside, and now we are going to go back into our jug here. Let us mix this around a little bit. Now what we're going to do is pour a little bit back into this graduated cylinder, and we'll see where we are. Now, if I do err on the side of a little too much, that's a good thing because I've been needing to add some more solution to get the volume up of my silver nitrate. Because in my tank, I like to make 8x10s from time to time. In my tank, this amount of silver just barely gets me to that point right now where I can cover an 8x10 plate. So, here we go. Let's go back in with our graduated, or with our hydrometer. Much better. But still not there. Well, actually, pretty close. And now, yeah, let's see, that puts me right at about, let's say I'm at about 8%, which is very close. Let's see. I'm going to go with another 10 grams. We're going to mix another 10 grams in. Let's pour this back into the jug. There we go. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is pour a little bit back into here. And this time, I'm going to mix in another 10 grams. That might be a little bit too much, but like I said before, I need to up the volume on my solution a little bit, and that will help me. I can just add a little bit of water to bring it down to 9%. So let's get our scale back out here again. Make sure it's all dry so none of the stuff cakes up in there. All right, so now we're going to go for another 10 grams. All right. So now we'll take that 10 grams and we're going to put it back into our solution here, and we'll mix that up once again so there's no crystals left. Now I'm starting to see some stuff floating around in there, and that's because I've been pouring back in and out of the jug, and I hadn't filtered this before I began. So what I'll do before I use this solution again, the next time I pour plates, I will filter it. And the way that I do that is I use the coffee, I use coffee filters, and I put them into the funnel and I pour it back in that way. And that takes out all of the foreign matter. Now most of that stuff that you'll see floating in there is old collodion, or, it's just pretty much dried collodion that's left in there from the plates that I've been putting in. Okay. We're clear once again. Now, we are going to pour this back into our jug once again. There we go. Set that aside. Now we're going to mix this up in the jug a little bit. It should be pretty good. Pour it back out. There we go. All right. Now we'll see the big reveal here. Here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. I'd say that puts me just about where I want to be. Perfect. So there I am. Now, I didn't get the extra volume out of it because I'm right on the mark. And I could mix a little bit more right now, but I don't think I'll do that because I'm too lucky here. I mean, I've gotten too lucky. And my volume will raise a little bit anyway. So I think I'm good. This is pretty cool. So it's good to get this back to where it is, because now the next plates that I make, I can almost guarantee myself that they're going to look a little brighter and a little bit more spark to them. So when you see that starting to happen to your plates, you're starting to see them dull a little bit than you knew they were maybe the day before or something like that, it's probably time to do this replenishment process. So there you have it. I'm going to end up putting this back in the jug here, and it's kind of a good day. I might go out and pour a plate or two, and if I do, I'll show you in the next episode. Anyway, thanks for being here, and thanks for watching this. Again, check out my Patreon, and good luck with your own process. It's really been fun the last couple of years, or the 3 years, I think, since I did this series. There's been thousands and thousands of views of this, and I've had so many letters from people that have actually started to do the process, and these are people all over the world. So it's really fun to be part of the mechanism that's bringing this back to people. So I really appreciate you watching. Thanks very much, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.